Terron Armstead said what about Tua Tagovailoa? It's going to be an interesting show here at Dolphins Today by Chat Sports. I am your host, Nic Rohloff. Armstead, obviously the recent retiree from the NFL, has been going on media tours talking about his career, talking about the Dolphins, Saints experiences, and dropped a very interesting quote on Tua that I wanted to discuss, and then parlay that into a conversation about the Dolphins' current QB1. Armstead said that when referring to Tua, he's seen him snap into a mode that looked familiar to me from Drew Brees. The consistency of that, him snapping into that assassin mode, sniper mode. That's that championship DNA. So we got to talk about Tua, and if he is a QB that has the assassin championship DNA that can take Miami to the promised land. But I want to show love to Terron Armstead first because he has officially retired from the NFL. He was a beast for the Dolphins and one of the best offensive tackles in Dolphins history. Like the video for Stead down in the comments for me. Come on. Got to show some support for 72. All right, let's get to Tua now because obviously this is extremely high praise for Tagovailoa. I mean, Drew Brees is without a doubt a top 10 quarterback in the history of the National Football League. Some people might go out and say he's top 5. I'm not going to say that that's completely false because the numbers he was able to put up in terms of his accuracy, in terms of his passing totals in his era for a shorter quarterback that didn't have the strongest arm, it's nothing short of impressive. And do I think that Tua and Drew Brees are similar? No, but this is a comparison that we have seen in the past because Tua is a smaller stature QB. He is bigger than what Drew Brees was, but he is still smaller than your prototypical Mahomes or Josh Allen or Lamar Jackson or the Jalen Hurts of the world. Like, you get the comparisons because they're smaller quarterbacks who thrive on accuracy rather than raw talent physically with a strong arm. And I do want to make this clear. When healthy, and I know that's a big when due to Tua's history, he is a very good quarterback. And I think that is something that is a common misconception about Tua as a QB. Dolphins fans, especially in the YouTube comments here under these star videos, think he's a bum and he's garbage. That is not the case when he is on the football field. You can be upset at the fact that he gets injured and misses what feels like 3 or 4 games every single year. But when Tua is the starting quarterback for the Miami Dolphins, since he was drafted, the Dolphins are 38-24. That is just an astoundingly good number. 38-24. 14 games over 500. In a 5-year sample size, that is super, super impressive to me. And that's why I think fans need to take a little bit of a chill pill when it comes to hating on the QB1 for the Fins. And I want to play a little game here. I showed you the stats. Tua is 38-24 as a starter. These 4 quarterbacks, Mahomes, Allen, Lamar, and Tua, all have something in common over the last 5 years. Pause the video. Try to figure out what it is because I'm giving you the answer right now. What did those 4 quarterbacks have in common? They're the only QBs in the NFL over the last 5 years to lead their team to a winning record in their starts in all 5 years. There is one thing you can say about Tua. He is a winner. 38-24 record as a starter. He won at Alabama, won a national championship coming off the bench replacing Jalen Hurts. And when he is simply on the football field, the Miami Dolphins are a winning football team. And I think this is something that fans just fail to really grasp. The injury kind of mindset and the lack of physical tools outweigh the fact that, hey, man, the guy just wins football games. And what is the one thing that is the only thing that matters in the NFL? Winning football games. Tua does that. So before we go any further, let me know, do you have faith in Tua going forward? Type F for faith, type D for don't. Listen, I understand if you don't because of the injury history, but when he's on the field, I do have faith in him leading Miami to wins. When it comes to the playoffs, that's a different conversation. But regular season, absolutely. Warren Sharp did a full deep dive on Tua Tagovailoa advanced metrics about 2 weeks ago, and I wanted to show some of these advanced stats around Tua because he really is that guy. Ready for this? In Tua 2024, ranked number 4 in EPA per play and number 3 in success rate per play. In 2023, number 2 in EPA per play, number 2 in success per play. 2022, number 2 in EPA, again, number 5 in success. Tua is the only quarterback in the NFL to rank in the top 5 of both EPA per play and success rate per play in each of the last 3 seasons. The advanced metrics show you that Tua, when he has the ball in his hands ready to pass that rock, good things happen. And then look at this. We saw per play here, but if you just take out the total of the last 3 seasons, this is, by the way, for quarterbacks that have thrown at least 200 attempts over the last 3 seasons. There's 64 quarterbacks that qualify. Tua is 3rd in EPA per play, 3rd in success rate, 2 in yards per attempt, 2 in completion rate, and number 2 in 15-plus yard explosive play rate. This is just incredible metrics for Tua over the last 3 seasons ever since him and Mike McDaniel have joined forces in the 305. And these numbers and advanced metrics are even just more impressive because in those 3 seasons, over the last 3 years, Tua has had the fastest time to throw, which is a usual indicator that the O-line is not good because he's got to get the ball out of his hands quicker than other quarterbacks. Over the last 3 years, the Dolphins have averaged out to a bottom 10 offensive line in pass block win rate. They also have the highest rate of their running back getting stuffed at the line of scrimmage on design runs. And over the last 3 seasons, they are the worst short yardage team in terms of rushing conversion rate in those short yardage situations. So Tua has ranked top 5 in almost every advanced metric for a QB with the shortest time to throw, a bottom 10 O-line, and one of the worst averaged running games in the NFL. The O-line just simply has been a joke. And I know Dolphins fans realize this because we always talk about in the comments, we talk about on these videos, that the O-line simply needed to be upgraded. And that's why you saw Patrick Paul drafted in the second round in 2024. Jonas Savaiinaea drafted in the second round of 2025. And then James Daniels being signed to a 3-year deal. Would we have liked to keep Robert Hunt at right guard? Yeah, absolutely. But I am as optimistic for a Dolphins offensive line as I've been since Mike McDaniel came over to be the head coach of the Miami Dolphins. You need to have an improved O-line because if Tua is able to put up these good advanced metrics with a bottom 5, bottom 10 O-line over the last 3 seasons, imagine what he and this offense could accomplish if they had a top 10 offensive line in football. Build from the trenches here, finally have an O-line that is elite, and maybe you could see this offense hit another stratosphere. If you want more Dolphins coverage, this is the channel for you. Daily content, sometimes 2 videos a day, like today. So hit that sub button, join the channel for more coverage around this Miami Dolphins football team. We didn't even talk about, by the way, the deep passes that Tua has had so much success in. Yeah, does Tua have a weak arm? Yeah, I mean, I'm not denying that. Compared to the rest of the league, it's nothing crazy. You see him underthrow some balls. You see him get off platform and come up short at times looking down the field. But he did rank number 2 in 15-plus air yards conversion rate over the last 3 seasons. And specifically, when you even go more micro into those statistics, on passes over the last 3 seasons that traveled 15-plus more air yards, he's number 1 in success rate, number 2 in completion rate, number 2 in EPA/attempts, and number 3 in yards per attempt. Like, Tua has a weak arm, sure, but when he lets it fly down the football field, whether it's 20 yards over the middle of the field, 30 yards on a hash, he is as successful as it gets in the National Football League. I think Tua just gets a little bit too much hate. Some of you might call me a Tua stan. I wouldn't classify me as either. I am just someone who wants to see the Dolphins win football games. Tua gets the Miami Dolphins more wins than any other quarterback could in the NFL that we've seen, at least to the last decade. Does he miss games? Yes, and it's unacceptable. But the Dolphins are a top team in the National Football League when he plays games. He just is. Like, it is statistically proven in the win-loss rate, in the advanced metrics that we flash throughout the show. It's annoying, yes, when he's not on the football field. But, like, you can't deny when he is that he is just simply one of the best quarterbacks in the AFC. Men lie, women lie. Numbers don't. It's the saying I always go about. We got more to talk about here, but make sure you get your Dolphins hoodie on clearance right now at chatsports.com/Dolphins sale. Links in the description and comments of today's video. Small no longer can be grabbed, but they still have medium, large, XL, 2X, 3X. Grab yours today. Usually about a $65 hoodie. Get it right now for $40. Grab them now before even more sizes run out. chatsports.com/Dolphins sale. Now, with all this being said about Tua and how well he has played when on the football field, he simply just has to stay healthy this year. There is no ifs, ands, buts about it. If he does not stay healthy, this is the last time that I will successfully defend Tua Tagovailoa to a degree. He is a guy that needs to stay on the football field. Just too many injuries, whether he had a hip injury at the end of last year, a concussion in the early parts of the year. Tua just misses too many games. He missed 6 games last year. Played all the 17 games in 2023, but missed 3 or 4 games in 2022. Missed 3 or 4 games in 2021. This is a common occurrence for Tua that simply just cannot happen. If the Dolphins want to succeed, Tua's got to be on the football field for all 17 games. And if you are planning for the future, you have to take into consideration Tua's missed games. The Dolphins ran the risk of paying Tua Tagovailoa that 4-year contract extension. I was in favor of it. You can go back and watch the videos. I was. Because I thought Tua, after finally playing 17 games for the first time in his career in 2023, was going to continue to play 17 games a year. And if he played 17 games a year under a not extension, then you would have had to pay a higher price point this offseason compared to last offseason. The gamble didn't work out, but it's really no harm, no foul. Because, yeah, you're paying Tua a lot of money now, but you can get out of his contract after 2026. It's really a 2-year contract extension due to the structure and the guarantees. So Tua's got one chance this year to prove that 2023 wasn't a fluke. I've hyped Tua up a lot today. But if Tagovailoa misses 3 or more games this upcoming season, which would then make it 4 out of the last 5 years that he misses 3 or more games, you got to start to plan for his replacement. Because you could have him under contract in 2026, but then after that, you can wipe your hands clean as long as you don't restructure that contract and guarantee more money down the line. So this is a big year for Tua. If he plays all 17, all right, you're QB1 moving forward to 2026. You miss 3 games or more again due to injury, all right, I might be looking for your replacement in the NFL draft. And before I look briefly at some quarterbacks here, should Miami draft a QB in 2026? Type Y for yes, type N for no. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments on if the Dolphins should draft a QB next draft. I got to be honest, I'll say this now. I think it's without a doubt. Miami's current backup quarterback situation is Quinn Ewers and Zach Wilson. Do I think any of those two could be the QB1 of the future for Miami if ultimately the Tua Tagovailoa crowd doesn't win? No, like I'll be honest, like you got to draft one. And there are a lot of good projected QBs in 2026. Now, it could become a conversation if you should draft one in the first round or second round. Depends on how this year goes. But you look at the top 5 QBs in the draft according to consensus here. Arch Manning, I don't think he ultimately comes out. We'll see, though. I am a fan of the next 4. Well, let's say 3 out of 4. I like Nussmeier. I like Drew Aller. I like Lenore Sellers. I think Sellers is my favorite. I think there's a chance he could ultimately have that, like a Jaden Daniels-esque rise to the top of the draft class like he did in his final year at LSU. You got some other guys here. Nico from Tennessee, now at UCLA. Fernando Mendoza, the Indiana quarterback who transferred from Cal. We know Carson Beck, Miller Moss, and Sam Levitt. I would probably be much more in on the first 5 quarterbacks than the last 5, but you never know. Any of these guys could rise up draft boards. The point is this. Next year's draft class at the quarterback position projects out to be pretty solid. Certainly much better than this year's. Cam Ward's a stud. No doubt about that. Everyone else in this draft class at quarterback, major question marks. So next year's cycle will certainly be interesting if Tua Tagovailoa doesn't put together a full 17-game season. I hope he does, because nothing would make me happier than him be the QB1 of the future in Miami, and Miami's allowed to then use their draft capital to continue to address positions of need, like in the secondary and on the trenches. But hey, if he doesn't play 17 games, probably be looking at quarterbacks next April. Make sure you do subscribe because we'll continue to bring you daily content, and we cover the Dolphins 365, 24/7. So if you want draft talk, you want watch parties, you want training camp notes, this is the channel for you. Join it today.